Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next From Nothing Lorna's story. We're picking up. It is the time frame following your graduation. You are a full-fledged contractor now, though the rest of your team is still going through their trials and tribulations before they can graduate. You have some time before they get there. In this few-week period between some of your teammates being students and actually being full-fledged contractors, assuming they all pass. Lorna, your time is your own. What do you want to do with it?
Ah, I guess she would just keep up with the instructions that she had been receiving under Norre. Because if you don't keep practicing, you're never going to get any better. And just kind of biding her time, waiting for her group to finally assemble themselves.
Okay. So if there's not something specific you want to do during this time frame, we can just skip.
Right. I think she's probably spends an obscene amount of time. You know how like children with crushes like spend their time kind of like writing down like names, like their name as if they'd married that person. Except in this case, she's writing down different names for her team. Like she's daydreaming up what like they could be called because she's like, we're about to be official contractors soon. So like she's just got different like hearts that are filled with like different random names that she's come up with, and they're all terrible.
I see. Okay. Well, you learn over this time jump that until you come up with a team name, your team is Squad 11.
Okay. Doesn't quite have a ring to it, so I think her earnestness in picking a name came after she was told that they were just Squad 11. She was like, that doesn't sound exciting.
Persh looks at you and he says, "It's for my own documentation."
Right, but it'd be easier if we like stood out from the other contracting teams because they're like Squad 10 and Squad 12, but we could be something different.
In my filing, you will be Squad 11.
Even after we pick a name?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's not how it works, Lorna. I need to keep track of everyone.
Okay.
I can't... Look, if... Just because Squad 9 calls themselves the Red Letters doesn't mean that I can always remember that every time they come up.
Does Squad 9 always call themselves that?
Yeah.
Or did you just make that up?
Nope, that's the team name.
Could you give me like a few more team names? I'm just kind of trying to feel out what like the vibe is.
He kind of scowls at you. He says, "Go away, Lorna."
Really, just one more.
No.
Please.
He just goes back to his paperwork.
Oh. Red Letters is cool. She'll like scuff the ground and turn and walk away.
Okay. So as you work on your team name, and slowly, one by one, your team joins the ranks of contractors, I need to make a roll.
Mm-hmm. Are you seeing who passes and fails?
I'm seeing if anybody fails.
Oh.
Okay. One moment. Okay. It takes 2.5 weeks. But finally, the one you were waiting for, at long last, the rest of your team, all contractors, watch as Thierry enters the room.
Yes, I knew it was him.
The amulet of the contractor, he's wearing as a necklace, unlike a pin. But he kind of walks up to the table and just stands there with his fists on his hips. And he's like...
He'll jump up and hug him.
He doesn't take his hands off his hips as he still stands
no,
there.
you look very regal, incredibly masculine.
I wouldn't have it any other way. I fucking did it, everyone. Hey, look. It's a year. I couldn't... He finally relents and hugs you back. And then sits down.
What did they make you do?
He scowls and he says, I had to find something bullshit, alright? Something hidden up in the skyward that no one else would have thought to find. I couldn't even... I had to find a griffin egg, but Triss hid it.
Not in, like, a griffin's nest.
No, it was around cloud giants, so I had to navigate random.
But you did a great job.
Yeah, I did, didn't I?
I guess I didn't see it. Did you keep the egg?
No. Well, I couldn't keep the egg.
Why not?
It was part of the test. I had to give it to Triss.
Oh, I would have kept the egg.
Oh, I did, and he pulls the scimitar
She
from
leans
his
in.
belt, and you see there is it's very ornately made, and on the hilt you see is pressed the Mariguard symbol, and he says, I did earn this for my graduation, though. And
What does it do?
It's very sharp.
Is that it?
Seka seems real proud of it, and at a glance, with your proficiency in Arcana, there are runes inscribed into the hilt and guard of the scimitar.
Can I, like, take it out of his hands while he's talking so she can look at it carefully and see what the runes do?
All right.
Hold on.
Fine. Okay.
What do the runes do?
It's a +1 scimitar.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so she'll look over it, like, carefully read the inscription, and then just kind of pout and hand it back. And she's like, oh, great. It's awesome.
Well, it's easier to hit things with, and it cuts through.
Yeah, sure.
I had to replace my scabbard, because if it was just a mundane one, it would have cut right through it. Look, I'm sorry you're all disappointed about my magic weapon, but I'm real happy about it. And he
No, it's
it
great.
with
You should be proud.
I am. Thank you for nothing. And as he sits back down, the rest of your team is just kind of watching, eating breakfast in various stages. And Anscombe says, I think it's a very nice sword. And Tier looks and says, thank you.
He knows a lot about swords.
I do. Right, okay. And Tier, gathers his own breakfast. Now that you have a full team, roll me a perception check.
Okay. Oh, hold on. I gotta actually make sure I link these two things.
Okay.
Perception. A natural 20. Good start. 26.
You are being watched.
Bye.
Near the door, there is an individual you've never seen before. Or at least if you saw them before, somehow they slipped your notice, or it's like you forgot about them. But this individual, now that you're looking at them, seems really out of place. They're wearing a long robe, and beneath the hood of the robe, you see bright orange eyes just looking at you.
Me specifically, or us?
Your table. Not square at you.
While Tier is, in the middle of talking, she's gonna, tap his shoulder and, gesture with her head in that direction. I think we have a curious onlooker.
Tier looks. Oh, what's that all about, do you think?
I have no idea. Maybe it has something to do with you graduating and us actually being a team now.
We should probably gather everyone then, huh?
She'll look at the table. Is everyone there, or are they missing someone?
You have Anscombe and you have Skolna.
At least the hard one to find is here. Yeah, all right. She'll go about making sure everyone's together. I think she would, try to catch eye with the person looking at them and kind of, gesture to, hey, you want to come over here?
It makes eye contact with you and doesn't move.
Fine. Great. All right. Yeah, let's find Nore, and it's just Nore missing.
Mm-hmm.
She'll look around. Do I see her?
With the crazy high perception that you rolled, you almost it's unnecessary that you rolled that well, because it's a Monday. You watch as Nore, kind of looking a little like she's wincing, nursing her head, she enters the mess hall and passes right by this individual that you've now noticed. And she looks and sees you eyeballing, and she doesn't catch that you're staring at the person she just passed, and she just looks at you and you just she looks at you what?
Oh, get over here.
She kind of furrows her brow and rubs the bridge of her nose and comes and says, "What? Why are you looking at me like that?"
This fucking weirdo at the door over there just staring at us. I'm assuming that has to do with all of us.
She does not turn and she says, "I'm getting Clava first.
Yeah, okay, fine.
It can wait, whatever the fuck it is." She goes, gets herself Clava, and like the rest of your team is just like kind of awkwardly not eating breakfast now as they're waiting for this. Skolna is looking straight at them.
Thinking about ways to kill them if she needs to.
Maybe. You could ask her.
That's what she's assuming.
Okay. Eventually Nori does come back and she says, as she has this big mug, she sits down and she says, "All right, it's too early for this, but what's that about?"
I don't know. I could go and talk to them. We could all go. You just sat down. I'll just do it. Lorna will get up. All right, and just kind of awkwardly go over there, I guess.
Okay. I'm gonna see if this works. Let me know if you can see this token.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I can. Ooh, spooky.
Okay. If you mouse over them, does it work? It does. Okay.
Yes, I can see their name. Am I supposed to?
That's fine.
Okay.
Okay. This individual, when you approach, you realize why they looked so weird to you. You recognize a forged. Mm-hmm. Their eyes are glowing orange, but they are lenses. Their face is like a kind of a almost rusty looking black metal. And when you get up to them, he looks at you. "Hello?"
Good morning. Can I help you?
"It is a fine morning. Perhaps your team is complete, yes?"
Yes, it is.
"I heard in one of my rituals you provided an offering of worth to Magos."
Yeah, quite some time ago. Does he remember that?
"I remember that. I am not a follower of Magos."
Okay.
He points to the amulet he's wearing.
She'll look down.
It's a symbol of Ana. You remember?
Oh,
You remember the same symbol on Cinder's breastplate.
Yes, fire, burning, purification woman.
In simple terms, correct.
How can I help you, sir?
I have a task that requires doing. As a contractor here, it is unusual for me to spend my money. However, I try to keep in mind those who have respect for the divines.
Great, deep respect.
I also am aware that you were punished by Anosa.
So, where are you getting your information from? Just curious.
That is for me to know.
Yes, that did happen. That was the lesson in humility.
Did you learn anything?
Yes.
Fantastic. Do you know who Velisco is?
Do I?
Roll a religion check.
15.
You've heard the name. You remember nothing good. If anything, you remember that name kind of being almost like a curse word. A divine of great evil.
I haven't heard great things.
The individual just waits to see if you say anything else.
Evil. Unpleasant.
Yes.
Is there a problem there?
Yes. Not in their existence, but in followers of them.
Something that involves us.
Could be. I have a mission filed with Persh. It is likely
Good.
he will be addressing you for it.
And you just came to scout the mess hall for potential contractors?
I watched you walk in. I know of your team.
Hey, we've made a name for ourselves and we haven't even officially been formed yet.
You were met as a cursory warning in the cleric training room.
Wait, so are you a student? We're a student?
I am a contractor.
Okay. And you don't have your own team.
Correct. I am a
Wait,
free
why?
agent.
And me, was a warning in the cleric's classroom.
You were used as an example
Oh,
for
great.
those who were to anger a divine.
Did Treat do that?
Yes.
I need to talk to him about spreading my shit around.
Why?
I don't like that. Your first impression of me was me pissing off some god, you know?
My first impression of you was that you granted a great offering to Magos.
Okay, I'll
and
take
were
that.
blessed with his appearance.
Yes, let's prioritize that. Did he tell you that too?
Yes.
Oh my god. Okay. Well, okay, sure, great. So you've talked to Persh already,
Correct.
and you predict that he's going to talk to us about this requirement of yours.
Yes.
Okay, do you want to just go talk to Persh now then?
He is still preparing the folder.
Do you want to sit down and have a drink while we wait?
That would be fine.
Okay. Let's go meet my team. Sorry, what is your name?
You may call me Modi.
Modi. Mr. Modi?
Yes.
Forged, it's hard to... Sure. I'm Lorna. It's nice to meet you.
It has been a pleasure already.
Insight check.
Sure.
16.
Seems very forthright.
Okay.
You don't sense any deception. You also don't think they'd be any good at deception if they tried.
Yeah. So she's just thinking to herself, like, when they put his soul in the body, did they forget, like, the human part of him? Like, she's just kind of thinking to herself as they're walking back to her group. Everyone, this is Modi, and he's a contractor, cleric, I believe.
Yes.
And I think he wants our services for something.
Your team all just go, "Hi, Modi."
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, Modi.
Nore nods with a mouthful of clava. Anscombe actually says, "Hello." Tyr nods. And Skolna doesn't say anything, but just looks at Modi.
Mm-hmm.
More. Modi says, "I appreciate the invitation to join you all." And then sits down.
Okay. Lorna will sit as well. And so, how long have you been a contractor?
There is a hesitation. I'm not sure. A year and a half, maybe.
All right. Did you start as a cleric?
Yes.
You knew you wanted to do that.
I didn't train here.
Oh, I see. So you arrived with previous skills and they translated to a cleric, I
Yes.
suppose. Avana. Great choice.
There's like a awkward, kind of pregnant silence, and then he says, "Choice is a strong word."
Well, I mean, in my experience with clerics, they kind of, they have very strong feelings about the god they choose to serve. Choose. Again,
She chose me.
I thought that's how paladins worked.
It's just kind of awkward silence again.
Listen, I'm not really an expert. I'm more of a secular magic practitioner, so... Sorry.
I spread the word of the purgation.
The who?
The cleansing flame.
Ah, yes, I do know she's known for that. Who needs cleansing, exactly?
The followers of Alisco.
Right, circle back. Everyone, I think this thing that Modi would like us to do involves Belisco.
Hold on. I have rolls.
I see Sif.
Yeah, she's loitering. Okay. Nora just kind of drops the clava and says, "Gross." No one else seems to recognize the name.
If she meets like blank stares, she'll say he's not great, god of some evil nonsense.
All right.
His followers are the problem, according to Modi.
So what's the plan then?
I don't know. He hasn't really said anything on that matter.
I leave the tactics up to Persh. I made it clear it was important to me that their cult be destroyed.
The whole cult?
Yes.
How big do you presume this to be? Exactly.
It is a cult founded near Shorewatch.
Do I know where that is?
Roll history? I mean, you're in the area. If you roll a 10 or higher, yes.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Shorewatch is on the coast. It's north of Ferrum. It's not super far. It's a few days' ride.
All right. And do I know if Shorewatch is a big town, small town, medium?
It's a pretty big town. It's a port town. It's not quite as big as Ferrum, but it's known as being a military town, where the Navy
for country? For Aurelia.
It's thought to be a strong point, basically, where the Navy holds itself in case an invasion is coming.
She'll look at Modi and say, I know there's a conflict going on between KO and Aurelia. Is Shorewatch going to be embroiled in that while we're there?
I don't know.
You haven't been, then?
Not all the way to the city, no.
I see. Okay, well, I'm sure Persh might have some information on that when he gets his... She just gestures vaguely when he gets his plans in order. Why don't you work in a group?
I am a free agent. I worked in a group a few times. However, many found it difficult to work with me.
Oh no, why?
I don't know.
You seem perfectly pleasant to me.
He's rolling an insight check.
He does seem like he's pleasant, like he's not unpleasant. She is having difficulty conversing with him, but she doesn't not mean that.
Okay.
So I will roll a persuasion, even though my deception's higher. I rolled a natural 1.
He rolled a 25.
My persuasion was a natural 1, but for a 9 total.
So the negative aspects, he sees through what you're saying, and he just kind of nods and says, and then he will pour himself a mug of clava. I don't know if you've ever watched a forged drink.
I'm sure she has, because we've established that Lorna grew up with a lot of forged in her household.
Yeah. Okay.
Their guards, their bodyguards they were forged. So I'm sure she's seen them on lunch breaks.
Sure. Okay. Then yeah,
you can still describe it though.
You have you have a unique experience with forged, but for the viewer and the player, you watch as Modi's mouth, which it's hard to see it when he's not speaking or eating or drinking. It's smooth as the black metal basically just blends it all together. The mouth opens, and orange light seems to emit from within. He tips the mug up to basically the opening. It's not fair to call it lips. You watch, or at least anybody who's paying close enough attention would watch, as the clava enters the orifice and then seems to evaporate immediately into blue energy.
So we've established Lorna knows quite a bit about Forged, has experience growing up with them. Does she know if it's rude to ask, like, when he became forged?
No, it's not rude. Some forged are pretty careful about it, but it's not an impolite question. It actually kind of shows that you understand what a forged is, because a lot of people are just like, what the fuck are you?
Robot people. She would look at him and just kind of look over his aesthetics. And she would say, "So did you design this to kind of coincide with your following of Anna?" She kind of the light, the warmth, the fire that irradiates from him, basically, is what she's implying.
He shakes his head as he sets the mug down, and he says, "It was chosen for me."
Do you know by who?
There's a pause. You kind of look. They don't really have pupils, but you can kind of tell he's like as if he's trying to remember something.
Mm-hmm. It's like looking down at the left.
Yeah. After a moment's hesitation, Forge Master Duvain.
Does that sound familiar to Lorna?
Roll a history check.
13.
Nope. Never heard that name.
I can't say I'm familiar. He did a great job, though.
He's a builder in Taka.
Oh, the City of the Gods. That makes sense, then, if you were designed with Anna's general aesthetic in mind. Taka would be the place.
I wish I remembered the whole story.
I see. Well, I don't know how you feel about not being able to remember, but I have a few gaps in my memory as well, so I can relate to that.
A common ailment amongst contractors.
A lot of hits to the head. I
Among
imagine
other
that doesn't
things,
help.
yes.
I think Lorna's feeling like a small amount of camaraderie with this weird guy in that moment. She's like, okay, I found a thing that we can relate to.
They tell me I was gravely injured in an attack by Tridonian raiders. I wish I knew the whole story.
Cough. And like kind of eyes just flick.
Yeah, Tier is like sitting there and he just looks tense.
Like, I think Lorna was like mid-clop, like gulp, and she goes, oh no, oh, yeah, yep, Trident and Terracona are sure next to each other.
I am not from Terracona.
Oh, where are you from? Do you remember that? She like blinks. How did Tridonians raid Zephyr? Or were you not there at the time?
I do not believe I was there at the time. I was told I was on a pilgrimage.
For Na?
Yes.
Presumably. Makes sense. I suppose that makes sense. Zephyr. Fascinating. I don't think I've ever met anybody from there.
He shrugs.
Have you been back since?
No.
Do you want to go back?
Perhaps. I hope it might spark some memories in me, but I have been busy spreading word of the purgation.
Right. As we've established, my memory's not the best. I have experienced moments of recollection when faced with the proper stimulus. I think there is a very high likelihood that you could regain some memory by going back to Zephyr.
I hope you are correct.
I hope you get the chance.
You are a wizard.
Yes.
In what magic do you specialize?
Transmutation. She looks very proud when she says that.
Do you have much flame magic?
She kind of pulls out her spell book and starts flipping through it. It's not really a specialty of mine. I can't. I mean, she'll like kind of thumb over Dragon's Breath. I mean, yeah, I've been known to use flame before.
I discussed with Persh, as it was a reason why I might have been able to reach out to you. I can instruct you in some fire magic, as that is my specialty as a cleric of Ana.
Well, you could train me in fire.
In exchange for a reduced cost of the mission.
I like this. That sounds brilliant.
There is a nod, and you see he smiles. And it's basically just a red line splits across his face.
How charming.
Yeah. I can instruct you to use Burning Hands, Flaming Sphere, Scorching Ray, or Fireball.
Or not all?
I believe... I don't know how well the magic translates.
I don't see why we can't try. Lorna looks very excited about this.
We can certainly try. I do have my own duties to fulfill, so my time is not unlimited.
I mean, of course, we have the cult to stamp out, don't we?
Correct. I think perhaps 2 of my spells would be... Well, mechanically, he has time to teach you either Fireball or... Okay, so 1 3rd-level spell, 2 2nd-level spells, or a 2nd-level spell and a 1st-level spell.
Yeah, she's gonna go for Fireball for sure.
Okay. That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of explain that that's your interest, and he says, I suspected as much.
Go big or go home, you know?
I'm making sure there's not another spell. Oh! Or Daylight.
Ooh. Okay, let me consider things. I imagine since the ride will take a few days that, you know.
I would be training you once the mission was complete.
Oh, okay, yeah, no problem. I'll pick by the time we finish. Do you presume that Persh will have our specifics compiled shortly?
I gave him the mission yesterday. I suspect maybe tomorrow.
So you're just spending time here until then?
To be frank with you, I did not expect you to see me.
Oh. I mean, you were standing right over there.
You've never seen me before.
Well, that was because we were students and the Mariguard has things in place for that.
Right.
I'm assuming that's why.
Most eyes pass over me.
I can't imagine why. She's like looking at his fiery eyes.
He shrugs.
Do you prefer it that way? Do you prefer less perception?
Fewer questions do give me some peace of mind.
You don't like being the center of attention.
Correct.
I can respect that, but I don't get it.
Why?
I don't mind having eyes on me.
I can respect that, but I don't get it.
Now you get it.
I don't get it.
Okay, okay. She just takes another drink. I look forward to working with you, buddy.
I imagine this will be educational for both of us.
I think it will be, and it's our first job as contractors. She'll look at the rest of the team.
Tier's like leaning on the table, and he says, right, so I don't mean to put a damper in this idea, but while she might learn magic and all, that's great. But will I still get paid? Will we all?
Of course we're gonna get paid. It's just maybe now that I'm thinking about it, because he's getting a reduced fee, my pay will probably be less because I'm learning the spell.
So,
Is
but
that...
I'll still get paid, right?
Yes, you'll. I'm sure you'll all get paid.
Modi seems to nod along with what you're saying.
We're contractors now. Free agencies are a thing of the past.
That's a good point.
Mm-hmm. You need all the gold you can get to keep feeding your bird. She's big.
You don't know how true that is.
Just picking up cows in the field or something.
It's a little ridiculous, honestly. That's why I just usually keep her in Triss's classroom so she can kind of hunt
Spread
on her
her
own.
wings.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't eat people, does she?
Yes, she does.
She eats people?
If she's allowed to.
Lorna just looks flabbergasted.
I tell her not to, but if, say, we're in a fight and we take out someone that's horrible...
Oh, sure, she can eat people then, but is that, like, part of her diet? Like, before you made it accord that she just ate people if she saw them?
It used to be, yeah.
Oh! And people were scared of my dog! But you've got a man-eating bird.
Your dog's a ghost.
Yeah, but he's a good boy.
Sure, but at first glance, people see a ghost. People are still also scared of my bird. It's huge and has 4 wings. Of course they're scared of it. It's just a different kind of scared, you know?
Yeah. Yes, please tell her not to eat people unless they're killing
I have
us.
done so. We've had an accord. Don't worry. I've got it sorted.
Because while Lorna's having the conversation, does Modi seem to react to Tierra's obvious Tridonianness?
Roll an insight check.
Really good. 24.
Modi has clearly noticed Tierra is aware that Tierra is Tridonian. Mm-hmm. Doesn't seem like angry or affronted.
He's not like
him.
All Tridonians are bad.
He does not seem to.
He's tempered. Yeah.
And also, there are other Tridonians at the Mariguard, so.
Sure, that's true. It's like he's never met a single one. If he just goes on the warpath when he sees Tridonians, yeah.
And the whole holy fire and stuff. No, that doesn't seem to happen. He instead just keeps drinking clava and seems to be, with that really good insight, seems to be mildly amused at the conversation. Is just like drinking and listening.
About his man-eating bird and her ghost dog.
Yeah. At the end of that conversation, or at least when there is a pause, Modi would ask, "You have a ghost dog?"
Oh, yes. She'll just kind of like whistle, and then out of like the shadows under the table, just this horrific nightmare of a shadowy beast just emerges.
I'm going to roll a religion check for Modi.
Oh, he better not cleanse my dog, because I will slap the bitch.
He has expertise in this. He rolled a 27.
Jesus.
You have bound a Kirkagrim.
Yeah. we've made an accord.
I expect you sleep very soundly.
I do. He's a very good boy. Watches over me all night.
You should consider yourself very fortunate.
I often do. I wouldn't be alive if not for him.
I believe you.
I think Lorna's just very pleased that like someone's like, yes, he is a good boy, because most people are very afraid of him. So she's just like beaming with pride. It's like he acknowledges the fantasticness of her dog.
He knows what a Kirkagrim is. He knows that it's a boon, not a bane.
Mm-hmm. She'll spend like the rest of their like meal just like talking about Requiem and like what he eats and like what he likes to do. And
I think when you explain what Requiem eats, Modi looks surprised on his face.
Yeah, we still don't know what that's all about. There's probably like a pocket dimension somewhere where there's just a whole bunch of food that he's eaten.
Does that mean he consumes the souls of whatever the food was?
I don't know.
Did food
Do you
have
want to watch?
souls?
Do you want to
Yes,
see it?
I do.
Yeah. Lorna will take
In your
half
head,
of...
you hear, I like this experiment.
Lorna will, like, cut, like, half of her omelet in half and, like, put it, like, in front of him and say, all yours.
And as always, it's very weird, but Requiem eats it, and it seems to disappear. And Modi is just curious.
Right? This is, like, the brightest Lorna's been in a while, like, as she's just, like, a new, fresh set of eyes to look upon her dog and, like, talk to her about it. Like, she's just in the zone.
You can genuinely bond with Modi over the uniqueness of Requiem.
The last cleric I introduced him to called him, like a grim and a monster and like a childhood nightmare.
Well, the last cleric you introduced it to didn't roll a 28 to know what it was.
Yeah.
God. Are you bitter about that? It seems like you're a little bitter about that.
No one should ever diss Requiem.
All right.
Face the consequences.
One moment, I need to release Sif to the wild. Come on. Where'd she go? Go.
I see Silky.
Okay. Thank you for your patience.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Did you pause?
No.
Oh.
So, you've met Modi. You've introduced Modi to your dog.
They're important.
You've introduced Modi to your team. Now that you are aware of Modi, as you go about your business throughout the Mariguard Academy, you see him much more often.
Interesting. She'll wave to him every time she sees him if they're not, like, actively doing something together.
He bows to you.
Aw. The polite little man. How big is he?
He's not crazy tall. He's like maybe 5'8".
Taller than me. That's not hard.
Yeah. I mean, he's, pretty small in stature, but he wears a lot of robes that kind of really disguise what he actually looks like. It's only his face that really gives him away as a forged. Anyway, the next day, you are summoned to the front desk. And when you arrive, you find that the rest of your team was summoned as well. And you find Modi there with Persh. Good morning, Squad 11. Have you a team
Lorna looks
name?
disappointed. Well, and she'll look at everybody. I've been batting around some ideas, but I didn't actually talk to you about them.
Right, we can handle the Squad 11 for now, Persh says, as everyone else is hesitating. We have a task for you. You will be escorting Modi's son northwards. He tells me that he's met you all and given you a little bit of information as to what is happening. Let me explain the details. A day's march south of Shorewatch, alongside the road, which is why this is important, a camp of followers of Velisco is set up. They call themselves Cult of the Black Blood.
Oh.
What do you all know about Velisco?
Lorna rolled a 15.
Okay.
Just that he's just an unpleasant guy.
He's thought to be a god of vengeance, of plague, of curses. He's the origination of the boiling blood, or the black phage. One of the worst diseases we've ever heard of. At least, that's what the storybooks say.
I mean,
What matters is that his cult has been distributing the black phage to travelers along the road, up to Shorewatch. That's where Modi came in. On one of his previous tasks, he noticed these travelers succumbing to this terrible disease. On his investigations, he found the camp. Now, typically, we do jobs usually for an entity that can pay if there's a problem. But it is also a policy of the Mariguard Academy that if a contractor requires our services, they can hire them at a discounted price, assuming based on how long worked for us. Old Modi has been here a year and a half or so, he's earned some good graces, so he'll be taking this job on the discount. He also told me he arranged for an even cheaper price by arranging a trade with one of your team.
Lorna nods.
Which means that for this mission, Lorna, your arranged offer, that's what you'll be paid.
Understood.
Is that amenable to you?
Absolutely. Knowledge is priceless.
He nods. The rest of you, standard fee. Let's see here. And he goes through the details of this mission. You will be basically taking horses up to... You're going to ride up as close as you can to the camp without alerting that you're there. You're going to try and figure out if the camp is part of something bigger or if it's just a little cult pocket.
Mm-hmm.
A
contained herpes distribution center.
Once you know which it is, you're to destroy the camp.
Mm-hmm.
You can do that a number of ways. Really, the idea of it is up to you. You don't necessarily have to kill anyone, but you do have to destroy the camp.
Mm-hmm. Scatter its parts, basically.
Yeah. If you do decide to slay the cultists, that's an option. But you have to make sure that if you do, any, like, reliquaries or holy symbols of Velisco are collected.
Mm-hmm. Modi's job.
Do you have any questions about the mission?
When he's talking about, like, holy symbols and reliquaries, Lorna, like, visibly kind of, like, slumps. From previous experience, him mishandling holy symbols.
Just put them in a bag of holding and forget about them until they're brought back here where they can be properly disposed of.
Yep, of course.
I know you know.
Apparently, I'm a teaching example.
You all are, in some way.
Okay, that makes me feel better.
We learn from everyone's mistakes, not just your own.
Great. When are we headed out?
As soon as we finish this briefing, once you've gathered some supplies.
Great. Sounds exciting.
I warn you, cultists of Velisco are known to use poison. And poison traps. So, I recommend if you can, I can... he makes a note and he says, you can requisition some poison resistance potions from Sekka. I'm sure she'll have a couple. Other than that, I'll expect you back here in a week's time.
Understood.
He gives you, Lorna, 4 sheets of transcription paper.
Oh, yeah. Love this stuff.
You know how this works, right?
Yes, I sure do.
Take care of it. Please don't try and use the sending spell if you have it. Use those.
Understood. Transcription paper. 4. Add. Got it.
And with that, you're dismissed.
First job. Just like a...
Okay, so you head out to Sekka the blacksmith, aka the quartermaster. As you approach, let me try and change the screen. Did it work?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, I got the error prompt. Hold on. It might crash. Nope. We're good. Okay.
Woohoo!
For now. Sorry, everyone. Foundry problems. New foundry, who does? Okay, so you head out to the quartermaster where you find Seka beneath the open-walled, roofed blacksmith shop. And as you're approaching, you hear Anscombe say, "Oh, do you think while we're here I could pick up some... I need a whetstone and... I need some supplies."
Yes. Now's the time.
Perfect. Anscombe will use his own money to buy a couple kits.
Mm-hmm.
He buys smith's tools and he buys a climber's kit.
Great.
Okay, so Seka, seeing you approach.
Hello.
What can I do for you? As he sets a hammer down.
We're about to head out. Potential poison problems, so potions of poison resistance. Healing potions in general.
I'm gonna have to charge you for the healing potions, but I can... She, is pointedly looking at the note in your hands.
Oh, she'll pen it over.
She sees the note and provides you with enough poison resistance potions for each of you.
Nice.
So you each get one.
Poison. There it is.
They give you resistance to poison for 1 hour.
Nice. Got it.
You also cannot suffer from the poisoned condition whilst under the effects of the poison resistance potion.
Great. I would like 2 standard healing potions, if that's not too much trouble.
That's fine. 90 gold.
I'll take it.
Anything
Does
else?
everybody in the group have enough for 2 standard healing potions?
Let me see. Skolna just kind of holds up a hand and says that she's good.
Mm-hmm.
But Tier does not have quite enough gold to get 2.
So, raise an eyebrow. How much do you need?
I have enough for 1.
What have you been spending your money on?
It's not really your business, is it?
Bird treats?
Among other things, maybe.
How much do you need? I'll hand it to you.
30 gold.
Yeah, here you go. Might as well have 2 on you.
Thank you kindly. And he also buys 2. Anscombe buys his own. Modi says, "I thank you, but I prepare my own."
You can make your own?
Yes.
That's so cool.
It's a simple recipe. It just takes time.
Fair enough. I think... I'm settled.
I think your team is prepared, aside from those kits that Anscombe bought. Is there anything else that you wish to purchase before going?
I don't think so. Are we taking horses?
That is the plan.
I want to try something. And she's going to look at Requiem and say, "Can you turn into a horse?" Ghost horse.
Hold on.
I'm going to be Ghost Rider, except
Let's see.
I'm the rider of a ghost.
You are level 5. Let me look at my table. Okay.
He's definitely seen horses.
Yes, he has. I need to look up the CR. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he can turn into a riding horse.
Yeah.
He cannot turn into a war horse, but he...
That's...
You
I
ask
just
him,
need him point A to point B.
Suddenly, it's like a pure black ephemeral horse.
Oh, fuck yeah.
He cannot fly while in riding horse form.
That's fair.
His bite attack is replaced by a hoof attack, which deals the same damage.
Yeah. She just kind of takes his horse snout and "Oh, you're such a good boy."
I am.
Yes, you are. She'll look at Anscombe. "Boost me up."
All right. He it's like he just whoop, like it's nothing.
How does it feel sitting on a ghost horse?
It feels weird. It doesn't feel like any other horse you've ridden. You kind of sink into the form a little. And it feels more like you're remembering what it feels like to ride a horse.
Mm-hmm.
But you are off the ground, and when he begins to move, there is no gait. You don't bounce. It's
gliding.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
But you remember what it felt like to be on a gait like a galloping horse, so you still feel like the weariness in your hips and your thighs.
Like I'm clenching my muscles like
as
instinctively.
if it's happening. But it isn't happening. It's very peculiar. As that happens and you're riding Requiem in horse form, Modi says, "That is perhaps one of the strangest things I've ever seen."
But isn't it just so cool?
It is remarkable.
Exactly. So, if I was trying to be subtle, I probably wouldn't take Horsequiem. Because I think this would draw some attention, but I'm just going down the road.
At a glance, he just looks like a black horse.
Oh, he's good at that.
With white
he's getting better.
eyes. He looks like, unless you're on him and looking down, he doesn't look transparent from a glance. You suspect someone would have to be making an investigation check to really notice that there's something weird about this horse.
Yes.
He is getting better as he's getting higher in level.
Requiem, can you neigh?
You hear in your head, "Neigh."
But the horse doesn't make a noise, does it?
Doesn't make any noise. Like the head tips up a little and the mouth opens, but only you hear it.
I love it. That's just a good boy. That's exactly what I wanted.
Thank you.
She's gonna ride him very proudly to the stables where the rest of her group was gonna have to get regular horses.
Okay.
Plebeian horses.
Yeah. The same. So I've never really introduced this NPC. The stable master is a human, a very old one, with mutton chops that are white and a bald head. And he goes by the name Mayweather.
That's a nice name.
As you get horses, he doesn't say much. He sees you riding Requiem, and you see his big, white, bushy eyebrows furrow.
Where did you get that horse?
But he doesn't say anything as he begins saddling and getting the tack ready for all the other horses.
I brought my own horse.
It is not long, maybe 20 minutes before your team is out on the road. And then
onward.
Heading out of Ferrum. You've done this many times. You are familiar and comfortable on horseback, even a weird one like this. So, I'm going to pull you here.
I'm on the Segway equivalent of a horse.
Yeah.
Like the first Twilight movie when they're running up at vampire speeds and they're just like, shh.
So, unfortunately, Requiem cannot move quite as fast as a regular horse, but he does not get tired.
Yeah.
So, you kind of can just keep pace with everyone.
I just won't be at the front of the crew.
Yeah. Okay, so we begin your travel.
Sure, watch. Where is it on the map?
It's right here.
Oh, okay. I was looking in a completely wrong direction. Yeah, that is getting us pretty close to the border between Aurelia and KO.
Yep.
The yikes zone.
Notably, Elvenlock Pass is where the front line is. And unfortunately, as you're making your way occasionally, one of the nights during your travel, as the suns are setting, you see that the northern sky, the northwesterly sky, is tinged red with smoke. Not a good sign.
So it's been like a year since it really began. Have there been developments in the war?
Yes. So, roll me a history check.
History. I rolled a 22.
Okay. Do you remember the name of the new king?
Ease Demrick.
Well done. You've earned a point of inspiration.
Me? Because I didn't even look it up.
So, a year ago, one of the first things that Ease Deverick did was basically made an unreasonable trade agreement with KO. You would have heard this. You would have heard of it. Basically demanding a tax that KO would have to pay for anything coming from Aurelia that was unfairly, very much leaning toward Aurelia's favor. And that tax was agreed to by KO. And then it got worse. It got more expensive. And then they offered another trade agreement that basically said that Aurelians wouldn't really have to pay any taxes on things coming from KO. Anybody with a brain could see that Ease was testing the waters, trying to see if KO could be pushed into things they didn't want to do. What you know is that he didn't start it. A lot of black market trading was happening behind the scenes from KO to Aurelia. Things that would be taxed heavily were just slipped by through smuggling tunnels and through the Copper Mask, basically just to dodge any payments to Aurelian government by Kaans. These tensions escalated until there were actual outright conflicts on the side of trade between KO and Aurelia, until battle broke out at Elvenlock Pass. There was a famous smuggling, not accident, but an incident where guards found that smugglers were transporting something extremely dangerous from Aurelia to KO. The smugglers said that they were paid by Kaans to do it. The Elvenlock guards, who were Kaan, didn't believe them and thought this was basically a bomb, a terrorist weapon to be brought in and hidden based on what they saw around the cart and their supplies. What is interesting is that they were telling the truth. This conflict, all of the smugglers who were Aurelian citizens lost their lives instead of being imprisoned. This wasn't fair, and so the conflict suddenly broke out into just an outright fight amongst the guards and soldiers that were stationed near Elvenlock Pass. And as that escalated, the death of these prisoners, the death of these quote-unquote criminals, Aurelia took that as a personal insult. And since then, the fighting has spread all the way along the border. Aurelia is trying to push in to take basically up around the Golden Cascades from KO, which would mean occupying Halstead and occupying Elvenlock Pass and occupying all the smaller towns. And the front line hasn't really moved over the year, but it is slowly creeping inwards. The news that you've heard from people coming in and going out is that soldiers are being recruited from all over Aurelia. And it's not an emotionally charged battle. It's a battle for money, basically. At least at the moment. So, that's what you've heard with the 22.
Yikes. I'm not even from here. You guys can just deal with that.
Yeah. A lot of mistakes resulting in one big conflict that has spread. So, you are making your way towards Elvenlock Pass. I require a D100, please.
Okay. 65.
65. Okay, hold on. Okay. 65. Okay. You've only just gotten away from the main roads outside of Ferrum, up through the Allenwood. You're getting into the roads that lead up toward the mountains. And as you do, you notice something. Off the road, you stop Requiem, and you see this. Down a hill embankment, through the trees, you see there is what looks like a person who is running, but they're not moving. They're frozen in place. And they're gray.
Oh. She'll make sure everybody else stops as well after she notices this.
What is it? Tyr says, who's right next to you.
Well, either somebody left a very nice decorative statue in the middle of the road, or this person is petrified.
Shit.
Right, so I know some things can petrify you, which means we have to be careful.
She kind of looks at Anscombe meaningfully, like, hey, remember that time?
I don't think it's just going to be... I don't think it's just going to be an errant chicken.
So what does Lorna know can turn people into stone?
Roll Arcana.
Great, 24.
Okay. You know of a few things. A cockatrice, obviously. A medusa, less likely. A basilisk, maybe. Or a nodoc.
The deer?
No, that's a... I realize they sound the same. Nodoc is not a deer. It's a... How do I describe this? With a 24 on Arcana, you know what it is. It's a bipedal lizard creature with the head of a badger.
Okay, so it feels like a basilisk, but with a badger head.
Kinda, except the basilisk is bigger.
Okay, so if it's anything, I hope it's cockatrice. Unlikely.
Based on where you are, you'd assume it's either a basilisk or a nodoc. Except, roll me another Arcana check specifically about nodoc.
Natural 20. 28.
Okay, you know exactly what nodoc are. They're common to deserts. They really like dry,
so not
warm
here.
places. Probably not here.
Like right next to the shore. So a basilisk is the most likely.
You suspect it's a basilisk.
Do they usually... Are they singular? Are they herd?
Okay, roll me another Arcana check specifically about basilisks.
19.
Hold on. Okay, let me see what I think you got on a 19. Okay, with a 19, you know that basilisks, they're reptilian, they're pretty big. If one was near here, you should be able to track it pretty easily, if you were to search for one. They can be in almost any environment, so probably if it was one. You also know with a 19, they don't immediately... Okay, let me see if I can... They don't immediately turn you to stone. It takes a second. Like, it takes a couple turns for this to happen. So the fact that this individual was running meant that they were likely afraid. So if it was a cockatrice, you know that... I mean, you've experienced a cockatrice.
Yeah, they'd be like, that's a chicken, and then it would be stone.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no reason why they would be fucking running from one. Chicken! Okay, so she would look at Tare, after just kind of like... She does like a beautiful mind where just it kind of pans out from her and there's like numbers and shit. And then comes back to her and she like looks at Tare and she's like, okay, a couple things. I ran through the scenarios. I think this is likely a basilisk.
Oh, great. Okay.
Right. And does Lorna know how to cure petrification by a basilisk with a 19?
With a 19, you know that there is a way to do it using the tear glands of a basilisk.
She's just thinking, like, what is with things that turn you to stone and having to smash up their eyes?
That's where the magic is.
Yeah.
You, know the answer to the question as you ask it.
Yeah. So she looks at Tier and she says, if we can track the basilisk that did this, or any basilisk in the vicinity, we can turn this person back into an actual person.
I mean, that might be worthwhile.
We should see if there's any more victims, and the tracks, if there are any.
Yeah, we should take a look around.
Should we leave the horses here? Tie them up?
We don't want to try and bring him through the woods.
No. And they would just be collateral if we ended up getting into an altercation with the basilisk. So they'll set up the horses off the side of the road.
As you do, you see Tier, steps off, and he doesn't say anything, but he's looking up. And it looks like he's very intent about something. And then a massive four-winged bird creature settles on one of the branches above you all. And Tier is looking at it. It looks like Tier is his brow is furrowed, he's concentrating on something. And then you just... The bird screeches and flaps its wings and lifts off.
Tell her to look.
I told her to look for more folks might be turned to stone.
This is pretty cool, right? Like having a... She kind of gestures to her ghost horse.
It's certainly useful.
Awesome. She'll, with the group, approach this person to kind of do a formal inspection.
They are dressed... Well, it's kind of hard to tell. It looks like they're wearing armor of a kind. They have a helmet on. All of it's turned to stone. The helmet is kind of an open-faced helmet. It looks like it's likely the sort of thing that's a hand-me-down or a cheap one. The armor does not look like it's in great condition. The individual has in their right hand a short sword that is canted off to the side as if they were running with it and didn't want to get cut by it. Roll me an investigation to try and find anything more.
22.
Okay. You suspect this person, likely a half-elf, based on the features that you can see. At a glance, they look like they've just reached adulthood, like maybe 20.
Same.
Yeah. You don't see any signs of insignia or official branding or anything like that. You don't see a holy symbol or anything like that with the 22.
It's a traveler.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. They do not appear to have... they don't have a backpack. They don't have the supplies to be out on the road by themselves.
Right. They left it behind, dropped it, something like that. So hopefully Lisa, the bird, will be able to pick something out while we're here. She'll kind of... Lisa, sorry. Lisa. She'll kind of nudge Chair and be like, hey, tracker. She'll gesture to the ground.
Check who? Oh, alright.
Tracker, I hardly know her.
That's the joke. As he begins looking at the markings in the soil. Tier begins to track where this man came from. And you begin to follow. It's maybe 20 feet, and then you find another one. Another statue.
Person. Yeesh.
It looks like a dwarf. You see they're holding up a crossbow that has been fired. The look on their face, one eye is closed and the other one is cracked open as if they were really trying not to look.
Idiot.
Roll me another investigation.
Okay. Can Requiem have turned back into a dog at this point?
Sure.
17.
He's with you. 17. Same situation with the first one. You don't see any like symbols of insignia. The armor is a little nicer. It looks a little finer of make. It's also scale mail, which you can recognize as a bit more expensive than the leathers the other guy was wearing that was running. He also doesn't have a pack on.
Mm-hmm. So whatever they were transporting their supplies with, they would not. They were in the middle of a fight. They weren't holding on to it.
Correct.
So we might find like a carriage or a cart or packs on the ground, something like that.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Tier sees him, and he points and he says, "It looks like they had to take a sharp turn up here.
Mm-hmm.
Stay close. I still don't see any tracks of anything like a basilisk."
Mm-hmm. She'll make sure that everybody in the group knows to, like, not only keep their head on a swivel, but, like, kind of, if you see movement, don't look directly at it. That kind of,
right.
She coaches them in what the fuck basilisks are and the risks thereof.
Sure. Okay. Roll me a D100.
Okay. 83.
One moment.
She also kind of nudges Anscombe and she's like, "Are you ready to shine, blind fighter?"
This is what I do. He's like nervously looking around.
Hey, stop looking.
All right. He still keeps looking around.
Never listens.
Okay. As you're moving, you keep moving for a while, following these tracks. Tier says, "It looks like they were running for a while."
That's weird. But they weren't. He was firing at something, but they weren't pursued by, presumably, a beast.
At least if they were, it wasn't on the ground.
What trajectory was the dwarf firing at?
It was canted up a little.
Sure, but so does Lorna know of any flying thing?
Roll Arcana.
Spooky. Shit. 10. All of these amazing rolls, and then...
There's something. It's something in the back of your mind. You feel like you remember something, but you cannot put your finger on it.
Fuck. Flying thing. Beastmaster. Weigh in here, please. Flying stone eye turny.
He scratches his chin as he's looking.
Does Lisa know?
Well, I can ask her.
Did she do this?
No, Capine can't do that. Hold on. He closes his eyes, and it's clear he's thinking. Yeah. There is something. I need to check the trees.
Lorna looks deliberately downward now. She's like, "Oh fuck."
If it's what I'm afraid it is, I don't think looking away would help.
Oh, brilliant. So she's just kind of staring off into the middle distance, like, where am I supposed to look then?
Look for something. Flying?
Yes.
Right. He looks at you. Look for something flying and scaly.
Okay. She'll kind of keep looking nervously as he's checking the trees as well.
As he climbs up a tree and looks, he spots something.
Oh boy.
He points to one of the low overhanging branches that's pretty stout, and there are gouge marks in the branch where it looks like something with talons dug in with its claws, and I'm going to roll for Tier. Okay, hold on. I need to roll something else. Okay. It's... Based on how big these talons are, I think I know what it is. But it's not here. Because it's... I think it's a shale wormling.
Okay. Elaborate.
You've heard of stone dragons, right?
Has Lorna?
Roll Arcana. DC 14.
Yes.
They're very much lesser drakes. They're very dumb. They're almost like the beast-like versions of dragons.
I see.
They tend to come in colors like shale, slate, marble, stone colors.
Uh-huh.
They're almost always of the less intelligent, but more feral.
Mm-hmm.
And specifically, shale dragons have petrifying breath.
Oh, brilliant.
And
A
they
wormling to
consume
do
their-
this?
And specifically, shale dragons consume their food once it's turned to stone.
I see. Well, and there were no chunks missing out of these people, were there?
No.
Weird.
I don't know, but these talon marks are pretty small. If it's... Look, we need to keep looking. There might be someone incomplete out here.
Well, that's... Well, if it's not a basilisk, that kind of ruins my free these people from their petrification. Do you know if there's a way to change back shale dragon victims?
I'm going to roll a history for Tyr. You can... No, you can't roll anything. You wouldn't know, I don't think. If it's a wormling, it's temporary.
Okay.
It'll turn back.
And you think
off.
it's a wormling because they're small?
I think. I could be wrong.
Smaller.
If it's not a wormling, if it's a full-on dragon, a shale dragon, they'll be like this for a couple of weeks. If it is a wormling, it's just a day.
I see. Okay, let's try to see if we can find everyone affected.
Right.
And maybe just gather them up.
So, Scum says, you want me to go get the other guy?
We should take into account how many there are first before we decide where to move them, if we decide to move them.
Okay. That's fair. So, you continue the search. Roll me investigation, and I will have Tyr roll me survival.
Might as well find their shit, too. Ooh, yeah. 26 investigation.
Okay. Yeah, both of you roll really well. As you keep moving, you're pressing through the forest. You come across a game trail. And as you do, you follow the game trail until it reveals a clearing where there is a little bit of smoke, very small amount, just drifting up that you wouldn't have seen looking above the trees. There's just a couple dull embers in the center of the campfire. And you see near the campfire there are a few tents, and there is the lower torso in stone on the ground.
That one's not going to be fixable.
You see around this campfire, the few tents have packs around them. You see there are generally the supplies of what looks like a camp. One of the tents is very heavily damaged, shows signs of talons and claws slashing through it. And one of the tents, you see that part of it, like one of the posts in half the canvas, is turned to stone as well.
Right, just collateral damage from a petrification breath, I'm imagining. Right, so 1 dead, 2 potential survivors. What time of day is it?
It's pretty early in the day. It's maybe 9 in the morning.
That sucks.
Based on this, it looks like they were interrupted during breakfast.
Oh, eesh. So there's potentially still a fucking dragon of indeterminate age hanging out around these parts.
Potentially.
Well, she kind of looks to the rest of the group. We can guard these people until they turn back, or
Modi says, "Her lady would appreciate that as the right thing to do. I realize we are pressed for time, but these are people who are struck by misfortune."
I agree with you. She kind of looks at the rest of the group like, are we okay with this?
They make a good story.
And it never hurts to make friends.
Perhaps we should do something with the legs, because they're going to turn back and it's going to be awful.
It's going to be, yeah, we'll bury that properly. Modi, would you give them funerary rites after we bury them?
Of course. Though,
okay.
Her allies should... His? I can't tell the gender by a person by their legs only. Perhaps their allies should be here.
I agree. So we'll bury them and have the funerary rites after they've turned back. Do you think we should gather the 2 of them and bring them back here and wait it out and defend? Or do you think it'll come back? I mean, we might have to tangle with this thing anyways.
Maybe we hold up in the tree line near the clearing so we have an advantage if it comes back.
Cover, yes, you're right. Oh, she looks at Anscombe, the strongest member of the group.
I'll carry the bigger one.
Great. Let's go.
I'm gonna look at your party and see who has...
And nobody's really strong in this group except Anscombe.
That's not entirely true. Hold on. I think Norre has a good strength. Or not? Hold on, I've lost the character sheet.
Very weak group.
Tier has a decent strength. Where the hell did Skolna go? There she is. Okay, so the answer is Norre with a strength of 13 will
yikes
drag the dwarf.
I mean, we can help.
Oh, could you? That'd be really.
Well, I mean, I couldn't, but.
As Norre starts, Tier's like, I got the fee.
And while Anscombe's moving the other one, Lorna's gonna be backseat driving, telling him where to lift, unhelpfully. Oh, but if you pull it from this angle, you'll have the fulcrum, and he's like, shut
Anscombe
up.
Turns, darling. You know your magic. I know my magic. This is my magic.
He flex.
He's holding the body in a fireman's carry across his shoulders.
Do you know what would have been super useful?
What?
I have levitate, but I didn't prepare it.
Thanks for telling me. As he's carrying it along.
He could have kited it along. Or is it? Hold on. Maybe it's ritual. It's not ritual. All right, carry on.
I am.
She just kind of follows after.
As he's carrying her. Tier, who's lifting the dwarf by the feet, calls over Norre's shoulder and says, "You like it for her personality, right?"
frowns. Sticks her tongue out at him.
He laughs openly. Okay, and Modi doesn't help at all. Modi just is walking along. You get back to the camp. Roll me perception.
Okay. 23.
With a 23, you have a good lookout over the immediate clearing, looking above the trees, looking in the ground for any hint of movement, and there is lots of wildlife around. You hear lots of birds, you hear lots of just tree folk. What the fuck? Forest life and wild animals. Tree folk. Making noise throughout the woods, which is a good sign, because whenever there's a predator nearby, that noise all goes away. Which begins, you now have to wait until this petrification breath wears away. And I have...
Like a whole ass day.
I have the number for how long
least.
it's going to last. And as you...
We're good people. We're good people.
You kind of loiter. Chair says, anybody want to play cards?
I have a dragon chess set.
On you?
She pulls it out of her bag of holding. Yeah, of course.
Okay, fuck me, right? And he just is surprised. And Modi says, I would like to play chess.
Excellent. I'm going to challenge Modi to chess.
Okay. Modi is proficient in dragon chess.
Boy, yeah.
Alright. So this is a contest of intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and roll your intelligence check.
Aww. I rolled a 9.
Modi creams you.
Oh my god, this is like Lord Northamaker all over again.
When Modi beats you, he looks up and he says, I understand if it's been a while.
Just getting the cobwebs out. Loose. Shut up. Do over.
Would you like the other color?
Yes.
We can switch off. And you play again. He's silent while you're playing him. Northamaker would like make comments and stuff, and he would he would mock you for a bad move, or he would praise you for a good one. The whole time you're playing, Modi is completely silent. Occasionally, he kind of fidgets while it's your turn. He has like his holy symbol. That you never notice this. The flame rotates. Mm-hmm. And he just kind of rotates it in his hand as he watches and waits for you to finish your turn.
He has a fidget spinner.
Sure. Roll another intelligence check.
Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, I was just rusty. 23.
Modi rolled a 22.
Holy shit, it's still neck and neck.
It's a very close match. You do pull out and win in the end, but it's very tight. And when you finally finish, Modi sits back and smiles, and he just says, "Good round."
That was a good round. I'm impressed. You have a mind for strategy.
Yes. Again?
Yes. I think Lorna's kind of warming up to his his nuanced way of being, and she's actually enjoying him.
Okay. All right. You run again.
That's what they do.
Okay. Well, as you wait in this clearing by this campsite of some very unfortunate adventurers, the time ticks by. Mm-hmm. I need you to roll me a D100.
27.
Okay. Roll me perception.
Okay. Ooh, great. 23.
Okay. After 6 hours, Anscombe has sat down near you, and he's basically pulled open his bag, and he says, "All right, everyone ground around, we're getting food because this is taking forever." And he has is passing out rations for everybody.
Well, I mean, we could try to hunt and save some rations. I mean, we've got the time.
Anscombe, like, looks at you, and he holds up the ration that he's pulled out, and it's not a typical ration. It is a bound, like, enormous sandwich in canvas that he clearly made himself, and he says,
I will shut the fuck up. And she takes it.
we can.
Nope, this is great.
Okay, I asked Hallowell, and he said these would be the best for on the road.
You are so smart. As she, like, her mouth is full.
Okay. From Anscombe's homemade breakfast, lunch, you gain, and anybody who eats it gains 5 temporary hit points.
Woo! Good job, Anscombe. There is, after a couple rounds of dragon chess, and like, you know, it's getting a little bit later in the day, and everyone's kind of like, you know, kind of drifting off, disassociating as they wait. Guess what I got over the time skip? I got proficiency in painter's supplies.
Okay.
So Lorna is gonna call back to all that time ago when she tried to draw Malcolm in class.
Mm-hmm.
She's gonna try again with proficiency.
Okay.
What's that roll?
So this is going to be, it's a history check now.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're proficient with painter supplies, you no longer have to do the skill without skill.
She's been practicing, so history is 15.
15. Okay. One moment, please.
She bought herself a watercolor set over the time skip.
Right. What does her, like, as she's diving into her memory to pull this face, what does this look like to you as you're working on this, do you think?
She is trying to recreate the look she saw in his eyes when he looked at her. When she, like, in her memory, when she first woke up and saw him. And, like, you used very specific words to describe, like, he always looks like he likes what he's looking at, and he's always looking at you. Like that.
Okay.
Because she can't shake that look from her memory.
Okay. As you draw this, I need you to make a wisdom saving throw.
Shit. I love tempting fate. Ooh, I rolled a 3. That's a 9 total.
Okay.
Let's go, boys! I love hurting Lily. Let's go.
With a 3, as soon as you finish this painting, and you're looking down at this face, you feel it's not like you're experiencing the pain, but you feel like you remember terrible heartache. And as you look at it, it gets worse and worse until you feel like you want to cry, like you miss something so badly with all of your being. As this tears at you, I need you to make a con save.
Great. I rolled 7.
You fall unconscious.
Oh! So she, like, basically, like, she's just quietly, like, painting to herself and, like, puts down the brush and, like, just looks over her picture for a long, long moment and then just slumps over.
Basically.
Okay.
It's gonna take a while to get into this, so we're gonna stop the session here.
No.
Yes, this is where we're going to stop. Because this is gonna take some building. But this is exactly where we will pick up next session. because you did a thing, and it requires real addressing. So, I'm sorry that it has to end here, but that is where it has to end. So
I love pushing buttons.
you certainly did push a button. All right. Thank you for playing with me tonight. I hope you had a good time. Okay. I'm glad the Foundry survived through this. It was
Yeah, I didn't have any problems on my end.
If I was jumping more scenes, it absolutely would have.
Sure.
To those of you who are watching at home or at work, hi, Pen.
Hi. What did you do, Ben?
We love you, and I can't wait to see you next time. Good night, everybody.